Hello and welcome to the Vault of Truth YouTube channel. In this video, we're going to cover Enoch's 70 Shepherds of Israel prophecy, which clearly shows that Netanyahu is the last ruler over Israel, and that the next ruler over Israel will be the false prophet and the Antichrist. So as you can see here, Enoch talks about 3 different periods of bad shepherds. The first period he talks about is a period of 35 evil rulers who govern Israel before Babylonian captivity in 586 BC. Then we get the next period of 23 evil rulers from 539 BC to 70 AD, and this is a period during which Israel is governed by foreign puppet rulers. Then we get the third period of 12 evil rulers, starting from the Reformation of Israel in 1948 to present time. As we see here from 1 Enoch 90, 20 through 27, and those 70 shepherds were judged and found guilty, and they were cast into that fiery abyss. So clearly all 70 of these rulers will be judged and sent to hell. So let's look at the first period of 35 rulers. As we see in 1 Enoch 90, 1 through 2, and I saw till that, in this manner, 35 shepherds undertook the pasturing, and then in parentheses there, of the sheep, which is implied. So in this first period that we're talking about here, before Babylonian captivity, there were actually 42 rulers, and all of them are considered of the sheepfold, which simply means that these rulers were of the Israelites and endorsed by the people. But Enoch is only shown the 35 bad rulers out of this group. He is not shown the 7 good rulers, which include David, Solomon, Asa, Jehoshaphat, Jotham, Hezekiah, and Hosea. And again, this is because Enoch was only shown the rulers in each period that would be going to hell, and that God was not happy with. The main thing to take away from this is that this part of Enoch's prophecy came to pass exactly as prophesied. Okay, moving on to the next section. We see in 1 Enoch 90, verse 5, and I saw until that 23 had undertaken the pasturing and completed in their several periods 58 times. So he's simply saying here that these 23 rulers added to the previous 35 rulers make a total of 58. These 23 rulers after Babylonian captivity were not of the sheepfold, because they were put in power by foreign governments that were now ruling over Israel. Now, it's important to note that there were many more than 23 rulers over Israel during this period of time, but that is simply because some of them were likely considered good, and a few of the other ones were considered so evil that they would be put into their own group. You could call it the Antichrist group, and these individuals would likely not even get a chance at a judgment, but would simply be automatically sent to hell. Thus, the 23 rulers that Enoch saw included 3 from the Persian period, 12 from the Hasmonean period, 3 from the period of the Maccabees, and 5 from the Herodian period. So again, some of these other rulers were seen as good, such as Cyrus and Alexander. So Enoch would not have seen them in the vision. And then, like I said before, there are a couple of rulers that are included in the Antichrist level evil category, such as Antiochus Epiphanes, who actually erected a pagan altar to Zeus in the Jewish temple and persecuted the Jewish people. Then, of course, you have Nero, another Antichrist type, who actually tortured and burned Christians, as well as ordering the executions of the apostles Peter and Paul. Then, of course, we have the Antichrist type Hadrian, who not only banned Jews from being able to enter Jerusalem, but he also built an equestrian statue of himself and a shrine to the pagan god Jupiter on the Temple Mount, which was considered extremely blasphemous. So it's clear that these rulers in the Antichrist category were so evil that God did not even consider them a shepherd over Israel, which is why Enoch did not see them in his vision. So again, like before, the main takeaway from this section of shepherds is that everything came to pass as it was written in Enoch's prophecy. Now we come to the final 12 shepherds over Israel, which began with the Reformation of Israel in 1948. As we see here in 1 Enoch 90, verse 19, "And I saw that man who wrote the book, according to the command of the Lord, till he opened that book concerning the destruction which those 12 last shepherds had wrought, and showed that they had destroyed much more than their predecessors." So clearly these final 12 rulers are by far the worst in the eyes of the Lord. And I think many people would agree with that. Not only has Israel recently entangled itself with Mystery Babylon, the United States, which is the most evil empire to ever exist, but the world has also watched Israel greatly overreact or over-respond to attacks by launching massive military campaigns, completely decimating tens of thousands of buildings, killing civilians, and displacing hundreds of thousands of people. We have also seen Israel be guilty of humanitarian crises, such as denying aid to the people of Gaza. And worst of all, very soon, the nation of Israel will welcome in the Antichrist and the false prophet with open arms, while continuing to deny the true Christ. And this is why, unfortunately, the nation of Israel will have to go through the 7 years of God's wrath, known as Jacob's trouble, or Israel's trouble. Okay, so now let's look at these final 12 shepherds over Israel. First, we have David Gurion, then Moshe Sheret, then David Gurion again, and then Levi Eshcol. After that, there was a temporary prime minister put in due to the death of Levi, Yigal Alon. And it's important to note here that Enoch was not shown temporary prime ministers, so they are not counted in the final 12. Next up, we had Golda Meir, then Yitzhak Rabin, and then we got another temporary prime minister due to a currency scandal, Shimon Peres. Next up is Menachem Begin, then Yitzhak Shamir. Then next up is Shimon Peres, who then got his shot at becoming an official prime minister instead of just a temporary one. Then Yitzhak Shamir got a second term. And then we see Yitzhak Rabin getting a second term. And then, believe it or not, we see Shimon Peres also getting a second term. Then next up, we see Netanyahu getting his first term. Then Ehud Barak. Then Ariel Sharon. Then we get another temporary prime minister due to Ariel entering a coma, Ehud Olmert. Next up, Netanyahu gets his second term. Then we get the dual rule of Naftali Bennett and Yair Lapid, who basically took turns ruling under one government for a short period of time. And that is why the two of them are counted as just one shepherd. And then finally, we get the third term of Netanyahu, starting in 2022 and running to present time. So there you have it. Enoch's 70 shepherds prophecy predicts that Netanyahu is the last ruler over Israel. In addition to Enoch's prophecy, we have seen recent news reports, such as the one you see here. Apparently, a powerful Jewish religious figure told Netanyahu that he would be Israel's last leader and would hand over his rule to the Messiah. Of course, this Messiah that they are referring to will unfortunately be the false Messiah. But the point here is that you have these Jewish rabbis who also seem to be aware that Netanyahu is the last leader of Israel. Okay, so now we jump to this chart of the end time convergence, which you should be familiar with by now if you've been following my channel. And you can see that I've added in Enoch's prophecy of the final 12 rulers into it. Now, as far as Israeli law goes, there is no limit as to the number of years or the number of terms that any prime minister can serve. If they keep getting elected, then they can keep serving indefinitely. So we can't really arrive at an end of this countdown just based off of that. What we can do, however, since we are on the last ruler of Israel, is look at his age. How much longer is Netanyahu going to live? He is currently 76 and will turn 77 this October. The average lifespan for someone worldwide in a developed country like Israel is 80 to 84 years old. So I took the lower end of that, and I ended this countdown when Netanyahu reaches 80 years of age. And this is quite plausible since he's already had some health issues. And much of the world is upset with Netanyahu in recent years, especially with things like the major humanitarian crises in Gaza. So if he isn't taken out from natural causes, it's possible that at some point he'll be assassinated. So either way you slice it, I predict that Netanyahu will only go about 3 more years, max, putting this countdown reaching an end by October 2029. Isn't it incredible that just like the other 6 countdowns that you see on this chart, that yet again this Enoch countdown happens to come to a stop right around the same period of time, within the same decade running from 2024 to 2034, which is the period that I believe encompasses the seals, the trumpets, and the bowls of Revelation. I don't believe it's any coincidence that Enoch's countdown ties in with the countdown of the Jeremiah sequence seen in chapters 46 through 51, which takes place over 66 years, the Daniel 9 countdown of 490 years, starting from the point in time in which Suleiman restored Jerusalem, the Hosea 6:2 countdown with the 2 days found in 2 Peter 3:8, the Ezekiel 4 countdown from the Protestant Reformation, the Matthew 24 generation of the fig prophecy of 80 years, and the 6,000-year Earth Age countdown running from Adam all the way until Jesus' second coming. I cover all of these other countdowns in more detail in some of my other videos. So at this point, there is no doubt that we are in the final years of this Earth Age. If you have not found Jesus Christ, now is the time. None of us are guaranteed tomorrow. Like, share, subscribe, and I will see you in the next video.